Hello, everyone. I am Miss Karen at Adams Memorial Library. Thank you for joining me for this week's book report. I am here with Diantha and Bryony and Dandelion and Rosie, and this week they have picked some books out for me to share with you that are all about grandparents. The books this week are Drawn Together, about a boy and his grandfather. Drawn Together was written by Minh Lê and illustrated by Dan Santat. This book is about a boy and his grandmother. It's picked out by Bryony, and it's called Nana in the City, and it was written and illustrated by Castillo. This book is about two boys who go to stay with one of the boys' grandparents, and in this story, a couple of boys have the best week ever. And this one was written and illustrated by Marla Frazee. And in this last story, a little girl goes to see her grandparents and she waves them through the hello goodbye window. And that's what this story is called. The Hello Goodbye Window is by Norton and Chris Raschka. Now in this first book, Drawn Together, this boy goes to visit his grandfather, but he has a little bit of a problem when he's there, because they do not speak the same language. His grandfather doesn't speak English. So his mom drops him off. And his grandfather's really happy to see him. And they greet each other, wave goodbye to the mom. But the boy's not quite sure. He doesn't think he and his grandfather really have anything in common. And his grandfather likes to have ramen for lunch. He would prefer to have a hot dog and French fries, maybe a little salad. He eats with a fork. His grandfather eats with chopsticks. They really don't have a lot to say to each other. They're actually saying the same thing, but they can't understand each other. So later, maybe they'll watch a movie and they're both saying, the boy says, "Can we watch something else?" His grandfather's actually saying, "Would you like to watch something else?" But they're not quite connecting. So the boy decides he's just going to get out his art supplies and start drawing instead. So he draws himself as a hero. But when his grandfather sees that, the grandfather goes to get his sketchbook and some ink, and his grandfather's drawing too, and look what the grandfather drew. He drew himself as a hero too. They both love drawing. They both love art, and they both love superhero stories. So maybe they can connect after all. If you come to the library and check out Drawn Together, you can find out. The boy and his grandfather managed to connect. How are they going to do it? This story, Nana in the City, this little boy, he does want to go see his grandmother. He loves his grandmother a whole lot, but his grandmother has just moved to a new apartment in the city. And he says, here's his dad dropping him off. He says, "I went to stay with Nana at her new apartment in the city." Oh, I love my Nana, but I don't love the city. The city is busy. It's kind of loud. There's a lot of people. Yes, the city's very loud. Somebody's working with a jackhammer. There's a lot of traffic noise. People might be honking. There, he's holding his ears. He doesn't really like that. It's too crowded, and sometimes there are things that are a little bit scary, he thinks. So he thinks the city is no place for a Nana. But his Nana tells him that the city is wonderful, that it's bustling and booming and extraordinary, and that it's a perfect place for a Nana to live. Oh, does he look like he believes that? He is not so sure, but the next morning, maybe Nanas can show him a different side of the city, and maybe he'll start to like it a little bit better. And whoops, oh dear. There go Bryony and Diantha. But also, I don't know if you can see here on the back, sorry friends, but his Nana makes him something special to wear so he can feel very brave when he's exploring the city with Nana. Now in this story, the reason why James and Eamon have the best week ever is because they are going to go to nature camp. And when they're there, they're going, oh, see, they're having a great time already. They are going to be staying with Eamon's grandparents, whose names are Bill and Pam. And Bill is so excited that the boys are going to nature camp because he loves nature. He loves penguins, especially. Penguins are the most wonderful thing in the world to Eamon's grandfather, and he'd really like to go to Antarctica to see some. Eamon thinks this is fascinating and he's waiting for his friend to get there. When his friend gets there, grandfather there, he's wearing his penguin shirt. He'd like to take them to the Natural History Museum to see the penguins, but they decide they just want to stay home and enjoy Bill and Pam's company. Well, really, they just enjoy being around Bill and Pam's house because they live at the beach, and so there's a lot of fun stuff to do outside there. So they go to the nature camp. Bill takes them, and then when they come back afterwards, Bill's very excited and says, "Well, how was the first day?" And they said, "I thought you were supposed to walk on a hike. Yeah, not stand and look at some flower for an hour on a hike." So they might not appreciate the outdoors quite as much as Eamon's grandfather does, but they do appreciate that Eamon's grandmother gives them lots of snacks for when they come back very hungry after nature camp. She gave them an ice cream iceberg with hard chocolate sauce on top. Oh, she made them stay up very late. And the next day, she gave them banana waffles with maple syrup. Oh, it's pretty good here. Oh, except they didn't have a bed for them, so Eamon's grandparents had to give them a big air mattress to sleep on, and they wondered if the boys would be lonely sleeping downstairs by themselves, but not to worry. They were not lonely at all. They brought a few friends with them. So, I don't know. How is this the best week ever when they stay with Eamon's grandparents? You can check this book out from the library and find out. Also find out, does Bill, the grandfather, ever get to see any penguins? Check the book out from the library and you will see too. Now in this story, this little girl is very excited to go to her grandparents because when her parents kiss her goodbye and drop her off at her grandparents, the first thing she gets to do is look at the hello goodbye window, because Nana and Poppy live in a big house in the middle of town, and there's a brick path that goes to the back porch, but before you get there, you pass right by the kitchen window, and that is the hello goodbye window. It looks like a regular window, but it's not. The kitchen is where Nana and Poppy are most of the time. So you can climb up on the flour barrel and you can tap the window and then duck down and then they won't know who did it. Or you can press your face against the glass and frighten them. But if they're not in the kitchen, you can't do any of those things till next time. But if they see you first, they'll wave and make silly faces. And sometimes Nana peekaboos me, which always makes me laugh. So I get a lot of extra fun and hellos at my grandparents' house before I even go inside. But inside, she gets to do lots of wonderful things with her grandparents. She gets to do art. They get to make things. They get to read books. It's all wonderful. And I think this book is wonderful too. And Rosie also likes it. But I love the colors. I love all the fun things. Oh, here's Poppy playing the harmonica. It's all a great time when she spends some time with her grandparents until she goes to the hello goodbye window because, it's hello, but it's also goodbye. So if you check this book out from the window, you can see what happens when she says goodbye too. Until the next time. So these would be great books, any of these to read with grandparents or just by yourselves. So if you would like to get any of the books out from the library, you can come down to the children's room and check them out, or you can always reserve them. Thank you very much for watching this week, and I'll be back next time with some more stories with our library friends. So thanks, everyone. Goodbye.